Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Nerd Ledger. I am Cage, and I'm here alone. That's okay. I got things to talk about. I got to talk about House of the Dragon. Listen, I think I'm just gonna end up just talking about a whole bunch of shit. Um, Today will mostly be House of the Dragon, season 3, episode 4. I'll catch you up on some things that have been going on, and then at some point, I gotta talk about Supergirl because I mean, bro, it came out a while ago now, and I gotta talk about it because there are implications from Supergirl, from the performance, from there's some news and stuff with the merger of Warner Brothers and Paramount and different things. So there's a lot there. So I'll probably dedicate some other time to that. But yeah, I mean, I've been away for a couple days. I had to travel to Vegas for work. And as exciting as it sounds, it's not super exciting. Like I'm not a party individual. So we flew out at like our flight was at 7 a.m. So we get into the airport at 5 a.m. Waking up early. You get there, you go to the event that we had to go to for the day, and then we have to do like this sponsored thing for dinner, and then then it's like 10 o'clock, after 10 o'clock at night, and yeah, bro, I've been up since 4 a.m., 3 a.m., so go to bed, go back to the event the next day, and then guess what, get on get on a plane and fly home. So it's not like we did anything super exciting, but I always like going away with like coworkers and just like you know I'm not like I don't hang out with a lot of people in general. Like I don't have a lot of friends and things like that. So like sometimes it's good to learn how to learn how to socialize, and then obviously there's a lot of partners and people that like I know that were there, and so different things like that is like as long as it's a real kind of thing, not like obviously when you're doing business and stuff, sometimes there's a little bit of just small talk and stuff, and I'm not a big small talk person. It kind of bores me. So but things like this are good, and relationship building and things like that. Cher and I did kind of record a podcast last week, but my dog was on my lap, and he put his head on my keyboard and hit the space bar, and it stopped the recording. So we didn't capture very much. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, this episode is House of the Dragon because that's what I've been talking about. I've been watching it. I've been doing my thing. And so I'm gonna talk about it, guys. So spoiler warning: if you haven't watched it, there's gonna be spoilers. Um, so this episode is the start of Tumbleton. And you see Ormond, who we found out in the last episode had betrayed Rhaenyra's trust. Whatever. He didn't really bend the knee. He didn't really give her his ward, which is Darren. Sorry, Darren Targaryen. He didn't pass him off, and he has moved into Tumbleton. And so he got all his soldiers there. They're moving in. They're like fucking people up. You know what I'm saying? And some people are against it. Some people are like, hey, yo, we, us the towns leaders here, we swore our allegiance to the one true queen, Rhaenyra Targaryen, yo. So what the fuck is you doing? And Ormond's like, yo, she is not a queen. She's just some bitch with some fucking dragons, and I ain't taking your shit no more. So yeah. Um, so he's kind of like, hey, yo, you guys, you bent your knee to Rhaenyra. You know, you're not in our good graces. You know what I'm saying? We don't like it. And so yeah, and then he's like, hey, yo, my men, they're gonna be on their best behavior as long as you're on your best behavior, which is a fucking bold faced lie, because his motherfucking man tried to rape Hugh's wife, motherfucking bitch ass soldier man. And then he broke like this dude's arm, and he's like punched this other lady in the face, and then the soldier is brought before Ormond. And Ormond, he's doing his thing. He's being very diplomatic. He's like, hey, yo, hey, hey, Darren, watch this, sucker. And yeah, he's like, this bitch ass guard, because he's a bitch ass, yelled him, cut his fucking balls off, sucker, and then break his arm. That's gonna teach him a lesson. We'll get back to Ormond later, because we also have the situation with Rhaenyra, who's trying to figure out like why Ormond's trying to take over Tumbleton. Like it's a nothing place, really. Like it's not strategic at all. Like she's like, what the fuck? Like what the fuck you want me to do, Ormond? You want me to come bring some dragons and just burn a whole bunch of poor people and shit? And so she doesn't really know what to do. Like she doesn't want to lose more support from her people. She's still getting used to all this shit. Grand Maester Orwell, he's like, hey, yo, why don't you have Daemon and his guys march through Tumbleton? And Mysaria is like, hey, that, we should do that because, less fear and whatnot. And Rhaenyra's like, okay, whatever, do whatever the fuck you want. And she also makes Ormond, not Ormond, Orwell. She makes him part of the small council. And, yeah, bro, you got some sneaky shit going on. And so, yeah, Mysaria is like, hey, yo, we need a master of coin, and we're fucking broke. So why don't you find someone you don't like and make a master of coin? Like a sacrificial lamb type shit. And Sir Torrhen Manderly is the guy that she picks. He's the guy in the last episode who was like, very clever, raiding all the rich people's houses and giving it to the poor people. Wait till they realize they have no food because it was your blockade preventing them from having food. Ooh, very clever. So she picked that guy. And then Rhaenyra goes to Alicent, trying to get some intel on Ormond. Alicent kind of like, she's like, I don't really know anything about him. Hey, he's like, he's just a smart guy and whatever. But then she kind of like reveals that, when they were young, like he was kind of cruel. And Alicent says she's glad that she sent her youngest kid away and all that stuff, to be away from all this shit. And Darren was her truest act of motherhood. Wow, good for you, Alicent. And Rhaenyra's like, yo, I wasn't going to kill your kid, by the way. See ya. And then she's like, hey, yo, Ormond, he's real sensitive to smells, okay? So she gives some insight. Criston Cole is a little bit less useless in this episode. He's like, Aemon's taken Harrenhal. This is not how he sounds. I did a terrible Criston Cole accent just now. He's more casual. He obviously is not Southern, but, he's like, Aemon's taken Harrenhal, and I'm gonna go fucking meet him. I'm doing a bad accent. It's fine. I don't care. And yeah, there's all this weird shit happening with them showing up at Harrenhal. Alice Rivers like, hey, yo, Aemond took off. Yeah, whoa, Vhagar's not here. Woo! Someone's lying. And Criston Cole ain't leaving. He's like, hey, we're going to stay here. We're going to do our thing. And Gwaine is like, Masuka, we can go meet up with Ormond and Tumbleton and, join his cause, because he's kind of expecting us with Vhagar, you know what I'm saying? But guess what? They're not going. So he has to send a letter to Ormond, and then Ormond gets fucking pissed. And Darren kind of can tell when he's about to get pissed. And he tells the little cupbearer guy, he's like, hey, get the fuck out of here. This guy's about to go fucking ack mate. And there's a lot of people who say, like, you could tell, like, Ormond has, like, Darren's, like, an abuse victim, like, because of things. I don't know if there's truth to that. I guess we'll find out. We also know Tessarion doesn't really like Ormond very much, but Ormond also detests Targaryens and dragons. So we also have this whole story with Aegon and Larys. They make it to Rook's Rest. Aegon's like, yo, Sunfire is alive. I know it. He's alive. They end up getting like work. You know, they have to pretend they're not who they are. And Aegon has to clean poop and shit and urine. And yeah, he's he's being treated like a lowlife because he kind of is one. But yeah, we'll have to wait, see what goes on there. And yeah, also, Kristen Cole didn't know Rhaenyra was fucking queen yet. He finds that out from Alice Rivers. And then Daemon flies out to the Riverlands, not to the Riverlands, sorry, to the Eyrie. It gets a whole bunch of gold. And hey, that bitch was fucking clowning the fuck out of him, which is kind of funny. And then he's like loading up all the gold on Caraxes, and then Caraxes like, hey, yo, I smell some backwater bitch out here. And he starts going crazy. And he flies, and guess what? They find Rhaena and Sheepstealer. And she's like, hey, you treated me like shit, Dad, and you blah, blah. Which, come on, let's be like, did he really? I don't know. We don't see any. This is the first time we've ever seen them interact on screen anyway at all. They fully turned her into Nettles at this point. And Daemon is just like, what the fuck? Once Rhaenyra finds out, like, come on, like, this ain't gonna be good. It's gonna be this. I'm saying, like, and then Rhaena's like, I fed him sheep. Bitch, you didn't feed him nothing. He barbecued you a fucking sheep, okay? He fed you sheep. And so she flies off on Sheepstealer, and Caraxes is talking shit as they fly away. He's like, fuck you, bitch. You ain't nothing. You fucking incest motherfucking gap-tooth mother-sucking mother, you some of teeth, some of here, some of there, bitch. And, yeah. And then Daemon sees a sheep herder and brings his head to Rhaenyra and lies and says that was the writer of Sheepstealer. And she's pretty annoyed about that. She's also annoyed that the High Septon won't crown her. And there's a couple things here, right? So this is where we get in. There's some interesting discussion to be had about the Septons and the book in general, right? Because the book is written by Septons or people of the faith. A lot of them, like, they're accountings, and they notoriously dislike women, and so you could say that the writings in the book, right, that portray Rhaenyra as a pretty awful person, in many ways, is kind of bias. This telling, right, that we're watching on the screen is also biased, kind of in the opposite way. But the faith not only doesn't really like women and doesn't believe that women should be in power, they also are from Old Town, and Old Town is where the High Towers are from. And so, like, there's this, when the High Towers sided with Aegon, the faith also sides with Aegon. And there's this whole thing, like, you can have fun discussions about what all that means, and the biases, and what's real and what's not, and what's true and what's not, and how you interpret this or that. Those are all always fun discussions. But yeah, she's real irked about that as well. Yeah. And so we also then have something that happens that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So Rhaenyra does the thing. She has Daemon's gold cloaks go through and start ripping people out of their homes and shit. Like, you're not going to get much support that way either. So it's not a very smart thing what she's doing, but what can she do, really? We also have a couple things, right? Ulf the dumb fuck, just doing dumb fuckery shit, right? Ulf is just out partying with his people, and then he shows up to Rhaenyra and he's like, hey, can you like pardon some of my people and like whatever? And Rhaenyra's like, hey, hold up. You can't be going to taverns. You belong to me, Mudsucker. You can't hang out with the people you used to associate with. You are my person and my person only, and you better stop all the shit you're used to doing. And Ulf is like, well, great. You know what the people out there are saying about you? They're calling you a fucking bitch. They're calling you the queen of bastards. And I'm gonna leave you there. Okay, goodbye. And Rhaenyra's just like, what the fuck? What the fuck? We're not gonna stand for this. Oh, something I kind of glossed over as well. Corlys is gone. He's like, hey, fuck this shit. I'm gonna go kill some people. And also, Alan, you go talk to Rhaenyra for me. And Rhaenyra is very respectful to Alan, because Alan's a very respectful person as well. So all that's going on. We have Ormond, doing his aromatherapy shit when he got the letter from Gwaine at Harrenhal. Fucking goes crazy. And we have all that stuff I already mentioned. Alicent is, she's doing some shit. Rhaenyra tells her, like, hey, we'll send Otto's body back to Old Town because I'm nice and shit. And she gives his ring to Alicent. And then when she leaves, Helena comes over, and her mom sees that she's pregnant. So there's a lot of speculation here. Some speculation that, well, there's like people speculating that it's like maybe Aemon's kid or someone else's kid, and it can't be Aegon. It's probably Aegon's, but we don't really know, right? They could do whatever they're gonna do. But this kid is most likely, well, first of all, it's a threat to Rhaenyra, right? Because if people believe that Aegon is the true heir, then this child would be his heir and not Rhaenyra, so it's a threat to her. So she's got to do something about it. And, that something could be very bad. She could kill that child. She could kill, what's her face? Helena. And the child. We don't really know what they're gonna do, but if they do what they did in the real story, it's some fucked up shit. Okay, it's not really Rhaenyra's quote unquote fault, but it is. Like Rhaenyra's doesn't do anything to the child directly, but yeah, it's a real fucked up situation. So I'm not going to talk. I don't want to spoil it for anybody who doesn't know. If you're interested in the spoilers, there are people that will happily spoil it for you online. But that's a story that's brewing, right? Her pregnancy that'll brew up into something. I'm sure the sheep stealer thing will still also brew up into something else. The other thing that'll brew up into something is Hugh the Hammer taking flying and taking Vermithor to watch over Tumbleton, because his wife is there, and Rhaenyra's like, "Hey, yo, that's conflict of interest. That's why Ulf's going." And then he's like, "Well, I mean, who else would you trust more than someone who actually has a stake in it?" And she's like, "Okay, you guys can switch off watches." So Vermithor shows up, and Hugh's over there watching over Tumbleton, and this is going to lead to a major story as well. That in the books includes Darren on Tessarion, and includes Adam of Hull on Sea Smoke. And so very interesting things can happen. The episode ends with Ormond bringing I think it's the brother of Hugh's wife, whose arm was broken, who he, let go. He brings him before Darren, and he's like, "Hey, yo, we can't allow him. He hit our guy, even though, we don't care the reasons. He hit one of our guys. So you got to kill him, Darren." And Tessarion really doesn't like Ormond. And Ormond's like, the Targaryen blood makes you evil, and this, and I'm trying to help you be something, and blah, 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 blah. And then Darren stabs him and kills him. And that's really difficult for him. And then Tessarion chars him to a crisp, which we don't really see, but we do see him about to blow fire, and people are mad because his flyer's not blue and it's supposed to be blue. I don't care that much about that little detail, but overall it was an okay episode. Like, this episode is like a foundation for bigger things to come. And I think we see some plot lines brewing. We see some interesting character work with Darren, with Hugh. Stuff's coming with Hugh, Ulf, right? Some, like, there are a lot of things that are happening, right, that are going to continue to build, and this is how you build certain stories well, I think, in a TV show like this over time, because there are things that happen in cinema or in stories that don't make a lot of sense. Like, you can make sense of them, but they happen really quickly. Like, a lot of people will criticize Revenge of the Sith because Anakin's turn to the dark side feels quite sudden. You know, you can explain it away that he's always been conflicted. He's had these things for years. It's the way he was raised, all this stuff with his mother that he was struggling with the whole time he was going through, the way the Jedi reacted to the things they asked him to do, the stuff with Padme, which really drove him over the edge. But, like, there's all this stuff. But in the movie, right, he's, in the course of 5 minutes, he's in the Jedi Council crying because of the reality of the situation, which, is a real emotion, which this is other people's argument. It's not my argument, because I think the crying is because he is realizing that Palpatine might get killed, and that's his only way of saving his wife, and that's what scares him more than anything, and that's why he's crying. But other people will frame it differently. But, it's like, oh, he's like, oh, I love you, Obi-Wan, oh, you're my brother, this and this and this, and then 5 minutes later, he's killing Mace Windu and saying, I'm Darth Vader, and then 2 minutes later, he's killing a bunch of younglings, like children in the Jedi Temple, and now I'm Darth Vader, but to me, I don't agree necessarily with that, but that happens really quickly in that movie versus something like this, where you have characters that, and Game of Thrones did this as well, right? You had characters like Jaime Lannister, who you hated for like 2 or 3 seasons, and then you start to like him a little bit because there's depth to him and there's all this other stuff. And even if you don't actually like him, you understand a little bit more. People are like that with Damon, but they've always liked Damon. Like, for some reason, people love Damon. Oh, he's so cool. He's this. Yeah, of course he does awful, terrible things, and, like, he's a war criminal, and he, like, hurts people and killed his wife and all that. Like, but, he's cool, and he's Matt Smith, and we all love Matt Smith, don't we? So, these are characters with depth, and that's what makes them interesting. And the story will start to change. People will start to change. We'll get to see a lot of things, hopefully, that are cool or exciting, or, it's not called the Dance of the Dragons for no reason, all right? Some dragons need to start dancing. And we'll figure out what happened with Aemond at some point, I'm sure. But, yeah, that's it for the episode, really. I don't think it was the strongest episode of the season out of the 4 we've got so far. I think it's one of the weaker ones, but it's like a foundational thing, right? Like, they're setting the stage for something bigger, and I think we'll get that something bigger in the next episode, most likely. So let's see what happens. I haven't watched any of the previews. Like, I don't watch all the trailers and things like that, so I'm sure there are people like who have seen them, who know certain things that are coming based on that stuff, or certain characters, and there's going to be discussion there. I don't watch. I don't like to be, like, spoiled in any way, really. Like, I try to avoid all that stuff. Like, when a movie comes out, I'll watch the first trailer, but I'll avoid all the other trailers and promotional material if I can. Speaking of which, Spider-Man comes out in 2 weeks. I'm excited for that. I'm seeing it on Wednesday the 29th for, like, the pre-event fan thing. I don't know. I got tickets, okay? But yeah, I'll see it on Wednesday the 29th. Very exciting stuff. Can't wait. Love Spider-Man. But yeah, I still got to watch X-Men 97 because I haven't watched any of that yet. I think there's 5 episodes out now, maybe 6, probably 5. I don't fucking know. But yeah, it's a lot of stuff, a lot of exciting things to get involved with. So I'll be back soon, hopefully, to talk about Supergirl and the next episode of House Dragon and all the other fun stuff. So that's it. Much love. See you next time. Rate, comment, review, subscribe, click all the buttons, do all the things, and I'll see ya. Bye.